Action on the camera!
You forgot the fan in the chamber!
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Okay, and killing that rock music. And I remembered to unmute myself before we went live.
Always helpful.
Yeah, I was in the process of I realized I hadn't uploaded any of these episodes to our YouTube channel. So I went back and I and it takes a long time, per episode. So I had like 6 that I dropped onto YouTube, or 5, I think, that I dropped onto YouTube all at once. And I was going through making sure just, a little bit of it played. And I encountered the one, I think it was not this past one, but the one like before that, where it's like a good 15 minutes of me just not saying it. You see me talking, but you can't hear me for anything, but you can hear you guys just fine. So it's like every so often you'll chuckle or you'll respond to something or whatever. So, and how's it going, Davy Jones? See you tuned in. Yeah, you actually tuned in just in time. Cool.
Hey.
If I remember correctly, you caught us originally on Stream Arizona on Facebook, not one of the usual RPG channels. So. But welcome. We should actually be having Justin's player showing up here in a bit. He's running a little bit behind due to real life, but that's okay. In dramatic fashion, I can deal with him accordingly. Mwahaha.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Wasn't you the one taking point on this operation in the first place?
He was. Ha ha ha. So where we left off, conveniently enough, you guys had discovered that this office building had a secret underground lair of some kind. But you didn't have much time to really investigate. You got everybody, you took probably longer than you needed to negotiate the elevator shaft. But you did it like a team. I feel like it's the replacements. It's like, when they all like try to figure out how to huddle correctly, and the coach is like, what the hell are they doing? Look at it this way. It's the first thing they're doing as a team.
it's succeeding.
Exactly, yeah. And they're succeeding. They're all like huddled up and just kind of moving away from the guy's vomit that he left on the field.
Right. That's good.
And I seem to recall that I tried a multitude of times to figure out what building this is, and failed every time.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I have no idea what building this is.
A very mysterious building.
Yes.
A very mysterious office building.
That
The
was
one thing-
basically
Yeah, the one thing you did discover because of the many duplicates that Dale sent upward was that it had some equipment, but for the most part, it looked like it was just kind of barren. Like there wasn't really much here of anything.
suspicious.
Exactly.
It's sus. All right, break out our chart here so we've got that out in the open. And where we left off, you had just managed to enter, or actually get past the security doors and see that the villain Blood Goblin was in the process of trying to break through a door, turned and confronted you, and that's where we paused. So we are starting this off in combat. Why don't you guys go ahead and roll me a d10?
Rolled a 1.
All right.
I rolled a 10!
Oh, that is not a bad way to start off tonight.
I'm going to start off with these dice. I have 4 different pairs of dice out right now. So
Smart. You know that's what I'm going to get you for Christmas, right?
Oh dear.
A dice jail?
Oh, a dice jail. I was going to say I don't need more dice. I
No,
need
yeah.
more dice.
Well, I mean, you would like them nevertheless, but
Be right back just a minute.
sure.
It happens.
You wouldn't be opposed if you accidentally got some. Accidentally on purpose.
Well, I'm nearing the limits of my dice bag, so
You shouldn't be. Not that
I'm
big one that I got you.
yeah, yes.
Oh, really?
It is compartmentalized.
Okay, I'm
I'm
impressed.
just saying.
Okay. You are really moving up
Can you
there.
count how many I have in here? I mean, like each pocket has 1 or 2 sets in it, so
But it also, I know we're kind of off track here, but when you open it up, the middle allows for some too, right?
Yeah, and I have some of those in there too. And
Okay.
look what else I have. This little.
Is he like your mascot or something?
I think Jess gave him to me
Well,
during the zombie game.
that's fine, but is he your mascot?
I mean, kind of.
Okay.
He just guards my dice, I guess.
Well, then maybe you just need a different guardian then.
Maybe, or maybe I should let him out every now and then.
That might be viable too. I mean, he might need to go on a walk every so
Fine.
often.
We'll get him out for this game. He can sit on the sidelines and oversee.
That sounds fair. Okay. So you have started off with a 10. Let me roll for... Actually, let me get a notepad up here. Perfect. So Dale is out of 1. Britt out of 10. Let's see where Derek is out of 5. And all right, Justin is out of 3.
Should probably think of something to do.
Okay, so initiative has been set. Because you have turned around and she took her moment to monologue of some kind or threaten you, you got the jump this time. Maybe you've just been a little edgy with everything else just not working out the way it should be. And you were more ready when you guys kicked through that door. So, Brittany, you were leading us off. What are you doing? Basically, this is mostly an empty, larger research room. Down the middle on 2 sides are like shelving and desk space like you would normally see in a research area, just kind of long ways with under cabinets and research material on top, like computers and such, so on and so forth. In the center of the room.
Okay.
Along the side, along one side, I should say, are like some computer bays, servers and extra cabinets and whatnot.
I'm going to try and read her mind.
Oh, that will be your action. So let's do that. Okay, so your psyche, go ahead and roll your percentile. Let's see what you get. And we'll do monthly karma after this, since we're like jumping right into the fray.
30.
On a what?
On a 26. Remarkable.
Okay.
So that's a no.
That is unfortunately a big note fish.
That's close, but it's a no.
So you instinctively reach out with your mind to try and focus, and you don't get the feeling per se that she was ready for it, but there is a lot of hostility, which when somebody's singularly focused, sometimes that can be harder to get in. So that was your first obstacle. You're like, crap. Okay, well, that didn't work out.
Okay.
Then that would bring us to Derek. Ixion just instinctively lashes out with his ice to try and put her in her place. Let me get his character sheet out here too. Doink. Ooh. Okay. She is very clearly much more which makes sense, much more savvy than probably you anticipated. And as Ixion's reaching up to hurl an ice bolt at her to try and stick her in place, he ends up peppering the door behind her, just making a pelt of ice hit as she ducks easily out of the way, and you can see fire brimming off of her at this point. That brings us to It was Derek. That brings us to. So what's happening now is as she ducks, I need to get Justin's sheet out here too. And here we are. He was oh, that's right. He attempted to make her sleep when you guys first kicked in the door. It did not work.
Oh.
He is going to, well, you know what? No, forget that. He's still going to try and do a heat emission, despite the fact she's throwing off fire on her body, if nothing else, to try and test the water, so to speak, to see if it's, something he can still affect her by or where you guys are at. So he focuses with his hands and fires a heat emission. Ooh. Okay, so she was more focused on retaliating at this point, so she did not really move out of the way. The bolt of heat, like you can see the searing heat fly through the air and strike her square in the chest, does not appear to do anything. Or at least anything noticeable at this point, despite the fact that, she took a pretty solid blast of heat. In return, she hurls a massive gout of fire, resembling kind of almost a supercharged fireball, landing and striking the area. If everybody wants to, well, everybody who's here, give me a agility check.
Does this involve acrobatics?
It is something that acrobatics would help with, yes.
44 on a typical.
Okay. Ouch.
I have a 36 on a incredible.
You said a 36?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are getting good. You are quickly realizing that the time you spent in the gym as a kid really pays off for what it is, your occupation that you have chosen to do at this point. There's a lot of practical applications. You don't really get saved from the searing heat of the explosion, but the concussive force you do successfully roll with. So rather than get knocked on the flat of your back, you are able to take the hit, kind of roll, and reposition yourself back up on your feet so you're not at a negative. Everybody else gets thrown back and kind of back towards the wall. You end up seeing Ixion take the blast, and he and his suit kind of hit the wall with a sickening, because he's not an actually like flesh body sort of thing, so it's more like slush bag hitting the in the wall.
Yeah.
The angler takes the hit, and he ends up getting struck with it. Likewise, same situation with same ultimate result with Dale, in the sense of like he gets thrown back. Both of the two of them are stunned and or temporarily blacked out for the time being. When that explosion hits, of course, research equipment and the countertops and whatnot, everything starts to catch fire. Damage-wise, Dale, you may be okay. It's going to do 40 points of damage to you. I think one of the things that your suit absorbs is heat.
Right. That's
Fire.
right.
Yeah. And then your body armor is...
Body armor is good, and you're saying with the hero costume, it's effectively at a remarkable 30.
Correct. So you take some damage. So collectively, you're only going to take 10. Okay. Brittany, you're going to wind up taking... you take 40, half goes down to 20. Because you rolled with it.
Okay.
And then your suit absorbs, as we said, 10, right? Is what it was? I don't have the uniform in front of me. Do you guys have your notes for your...
I don't. Mine just says uniform against physical energy, heat, and cold.
Yeah, as far as I just have like with my stuff, it provides the
Yeah, it's good protection.
the
Here it is.
rating.
I wrote it down.
Okay.
Make sure you guys write that down because that's going to be important. So, Brittany, your suit actually absorbs part of that fire too. So collectively, you only take 10.
What does it absorb? What should I write down?
The uniform that you guys have is good protection, so GD 10,
Okay.
against physical, energy, heat, which in this case would include fire, and cold damage.
So how do we account for that in the numbers?
What do you mean?
Like on the chart, how do we calculate that?
It's not something so much that you will calculate. It's just something that's going to reduce the effectiveness if that particular type is used against you. So it's not something you have to roll. It's basically like in this case, they did damage. Okay, great. But 10 of that's automatically subtracted from whatever damage they did because you have something that
Okay.
resists it. So it's not,
Okay,
it's not
so-
something you have to roll.
Okay. So just basically subtract 10
Yeah.
from.
So you're going to take a total of 10 damage.
Do we need to worry about the uniforms degrading?
Eventually, yes.
Okay. So should we keep track of how much the uniforms have?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, no need. Mostly it's there because occasionally, because there are, much like D&D, there's different types of attacks. So like it's going to do nothing against a psionic attack.
Right.
If the attack happens to be radiation, for example, it's not going to do a thing to protect you against it. It's just not insulated in that way.
Okay.
Or magic for another thing. Like if you get attacked by something that's magical, not going to help.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so blast has happened. Dale, you are up. You are down. I'll let you know what the penalty is as you are recovering from the blast.
Okay.
But otherwise, you're still fully active.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm gonna get myself up, and I'm gonna activate my reflection ability.
Okay.
So I figure the way that works, it's because it's technological, it kind of looks like some parts of my plating just around my body kind of open up. Other plates slide out into place. They look a little different, like they're reflective, and that just happens like kind of front, back, arms, and even face. So it's like a noticeable thing.
Kind of like that prism sort of effect that was really popular, during the 80s and whatnot. The prism
Yeah,
stickers.
right.
I love those.
They were neat.
So everyone notices that happens, and let's see here. With that, then I start to how high are the ceilings in this room?
Good question. You're looking at about 10 feet.
Okay, so not very high. Good. And let's see here. And there are other doors that were behind us, of course, because we just came in the room. There are other doors then also behind Blood Goblin.
There's the one, yeah. Look, it's like a big security door, which took a bolt of Ixion's ice blast.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, then I'm just gonna see if I can charge at her and see if I can like just kind of grapple her to prevent her from doing another one of those blasts.
Sure. Okay. So moving in to engage.
Yeah.
So hand to hand, then, correct?
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So your full sprint, you can get there in this one round, given your strength. Go ahead and make a fighting attempt.
Wait. Not bad. 82 on a remarkable.
And you were attempting to grapple, correct?
Yeah, just kind of pretty much like kind of bear hugger like this.
Okay. So what is your fighting?
Fighting is at remarkable 26.
Okay, and you got an 80 what?
82.
82. Okay, so you managed to partially grapple her. So not to the extent that you wanted, but you did manage to grab a hold of her. You kind of caught her flat-footed, in the sense of like she was trying to get out of the way, but you're probably just a better hand-to-hand fighter than she is. So you managed to kind of get a hold of almost kind of a collar, like you kind of got her around the neck and the one arm sort of thing. So she's still sort of free and can act,
Okay.
but you have a hold of her.
Gotcha. Okay.
So top of the round, Brittany. At this point, it is back to you.
Okay, so I just remembered that I was planning to check on the scientist guy that she beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like pull him to safety and do some like an assessment.
Okay, so now that Hyperion kind of has a hold of her, you're going to use that as a distraction to swoop in and
But
try and get an
get the
innocent.
guy out of the way, yeah.
Okay. All right. So her attention is on him. You are able to advance quickly. And what is your strength?
Good.
Okay. That is good enough. I'm not going to make you roll for that. So you basically, it's a no muss, no fuss, kind of grab him by both arms and just pulling him back as quickly as you can to get him away from the immediate tussle where they're at. She ends as she is partially grappled by Hyperion. She says something in a language you don't fully understand and points at Ixion, or not Ixion, but Hyperion. What is your
Oh,
good question? It would still be Psyche.
Man, my psyche's a good 8,
Okay.
but
Go
I'm
ahead.
an android, if that matters.
Yeah, you are an android. Go ahead and roll.
roll high.
Okay, 75.
Oh, not bad. Okay. So she ends up saying something and pointing at you, and this like weird sort of like lasso of fire wraps around you.
Okay.
So you're both kind of partially grappled.
Okay.
Thankfully, because of your what is your energy? Never mind. Energy reflection not relevant for this. But thankfully, initially for your costume, you're not taking any damage. But you can tell based upon the heat and the grappling strength of this, you may, if you can't free yourself soon, or subdue her.
Okay, gotcha.
Your action.
Let's see. So I only had her like partially held before, and so now this lasso is kind of encircling both of us more or less, or
Just you.
it's just me. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. And of course, it's not gonna. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it affects her at all from the previous blast. So I am going to. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can, with the hold that I have on her right now,
Mm-hmm.
kind of grab her and kind of just slam her against the ground.
Okay.
Just do some damage here.
You
See if I
can
can knock her
you
out.
can absolutely try that. So basically, you're going for like a half Nelson bulldog sort of wrestling. Just okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, that'll work. Go ahead and roll your fighting.
At 73.
Ooh. God, ouch. Okay. So that is, and your fighting was remarkable, right?
Correct.
Okay, so still a yellow result. Ouch. Give me a strength check.
Not so good. 29, but the strength is incredible.
Yeah, strength. You're overpowering. It's more for the result, really.
Okay.
Okay, so boom, driving her straight into the ground. You end up hearing kind of an angered muffle of something. She probably said something, and you just shoved her head like right into the ground. Brittany, you end up hearing a very loud thud. as Hyperion is struggling with her. He kind of goes down too because he's grappled, but he just drove her face right into the, well, there's not dirt, but right into the floor in here. Just wham, really hard.
Man, we really could use some of those cuffs.
Yeah. Power nullifiers.
Note to self.
I'm gonna try to make them or reverse engineer them, the moment I get a chance.
You got some of the smartest people on the planet on your team at this point. Reverse engineering one of those, not too difficult.
Right, exactly.
We just need equipment.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need it. Yes, that is true. You need equipment. Okay. So that was that round. The top of the round. The rest of your team is still like sort of dazed from that action at that point. You can hear Hyperion and Blood Goblin in kind of muffled wrestling match of some kind as they're tussling around. It doesn't appear to be any threat to you right now. So, Brittany, it is up to you. What are you doing?
I can't see them, can I?
Yes.
I can?
Mm-hmm. It's not
Does
a dark.
it
It's
look
not a
like-
dark room. It's actually fairly well lit.
Well, I was just wondering if like they were around a corner now or something. So
No. It's a large open room. I mean, you don't have a great viewpoint of them because of some of the knocked over equipment that's in the way, but I mean, you can still see them, like either power flaring or like a leg flying up every so often.
all right, it looks like he's got her in hand for the time being.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do first aid on this guy.
Okay, good job. Go ahead and give me a reason check.
Ooh.
Your specialty.
94 plus I get a column shift for
Yes.
emergency medicine.
Yes, you do. And your reason is what right now?
Amazing plus. Okay, so now it's monstrous
Yes.
at a 94.
So at an 86, you clear a red result at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
So anything that would have popped on like emergency scanners at this point, you can eyeball. It's like you don't even really need the extra devices or like something to tell you your pulse. Like you can look at him and you already have the 411 on everything that's going on. He looks like he was victim of probably a pretty savage beating of some kind. The indentations that he's got on him does not appear to have been fire related, so she probably pummeled him. May have used a device, but otherwise he seems relatively stable. You're almost 100% positive he's got a concussion, given the way he's looking, but otherwise he doesn't appear to be in like serious harm's way.
Okay. Then I'm gonna position him in a way that he will be comfortable and stable.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're here, do I see any logos or ID on his person?
You do. We'll say you got that for right now. We don't need to delve into it, but yes, you do see that it has like a picture. It's a picture ID with his name on it, as well as some sort of.
Mostly what I'm
business name
looking
on the top.
for is what kind of company is this?
You don't recognize it.
Okay.
Yeah. At
There's
first,
not like a name.
no.
of the-
There's a
business.
name. There's a name of the company, but it's not one that you recognize. Like pops up on commercials or anything of that nature.
Okay.
So it's not like you look at the badge, you go, "Oh, Coca-Cola." It's like he was working on a formula.
Right.
Nothing that pops off the immediate of your head, especially given the fact that you've kind of worked in the scientific field, which leads you to believe that even if this is a somewhat known company, it was probably kept under wraps, especially given where it's at.
Okay.
So it may not even be a company name. It may just be a project name.
Okay. I guess that's it.
You can still act. I mean, that was just kind
Oh.
of a spot check for you. I'm not going to penalize you for.
Oh.
So, actually, no, that's right. You were pulling him back a safe way away too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did that last round.
Okay. So then, what are you doing this round?
This round, it was going to be the med check.
Okay.
Did I not count for the action?
No.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. In that
No, I'm going to
case,
give you that one because that was a spectacular roll.
okay. Then in that case, I'm going to run to the vault.
So that will put you in hand-to-hand range. They're like right in front of the door.
Okay. That's
you,
fine.
You could still do that if you want.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. So you leave him where he's at, run forward to go help your brother from another mother, quite literally, Hyperion.
Do you have a mother?
Kind of. I mean, I had, a creator and a co-creator, and then like a team of like helpers.
Like
So
midwives.
There
I
you go.
guess, engineers, midwives, kind of the same thing.
One knows about birth and babies, the other one knows about coding. It's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that was your action. Her action at this point is to try to break free of the punishing assault that Hyperion just drove her into the ground. She is flying straight up to try and drive you into the ceiling.
Okay,
That's
so
right. I
move.
forgot she's a flyer.
Yeah.
So go ahead and roll your endurance. Not like you can dodge.
Right. Nice. Man, doing well. 83.
Oh yeah, no dice there. So you get hit up against the wall and you're like, I could take this all day. Like it completely shrugged it off. There's not even an impact sense. It was pretty feeble based upon your designs, which is
Gotcha.
probably enlightening given the fact this is one of your first combat tests, and so satisfying.
Awesome.
You are up at this point. You are still wrapped up in the fire. Oh, speaking of which, the fire damage at this point, as it is grappling you, does 30.
Okay. And does the costume negate 10 points of that, or is that
The
30
costume
total?
does not,
Oh, okay.
which is
Okay.
an interesting observation.
Gotcha. Does my reflection ability negate any of that?
At first thought, it should. Yes, it does not.
It does not. Got it. Okay. So so you said a total of 30 damage?
Total of 30 damage.
Okay, ouch. Yeah. That's gonna be a problem. Okay. Okay, so then what do I do? So I'm being pressed up against the ceiling right now?
Yeah, but
Okay.
to no effect. I mean, you just kind of got hit. It didn't do anything.
Okay. All That's
There
okay.
he is.
You're coming in the middle of the action, man.
And kill you.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Okay.
Fine. It's not your turn. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it is his turn. I don't know.
Actually, it is not. I just need to reposition the screen so that you can be seen. I think he's still debugging his system right now. He's also muted. Just you. 1 second. Go. Okay. Leave that there for him. Okay. So top of the round, Brittany.
All right.
So just
Oh,
as
did
you
I?
just as you come running, oh sorry, Dale,
Yeah, that's right. I wasn't sure if I do.
I
Yeah,
got
okay.
I got
So then,
distracted.
right. So then, okay. So being friends. Okay. So now I want to see if I can. Since I'm still kind of partly grappled,
Hmm.
I want to see if I can just kind of literally do like grab onto her head and just bam, head butter.
Okay, so just straight up head. So that's going to be a fighting check. Go ahead.
57.
Ooh, and you're fighting.
Remarkable.
Ooh. Okay, so you drive your android head straight into hers. Wasn't terribly difficult since you still had a partial hold on her. That is, go ahead and roll for your strength again.
69.
Okay, 69. Let's see. Puts you at a yellow result. Ooh. Okay, so you end up hitting her with enough of a strike that you lose your grip on her from your headbutt, and you send her into the opposing wall
Okay.
several feet away, like flying straight into it. She buckles and crumples.
Gotcha. I take it, do I then just kind of land on the floor?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You just land on, and conveniently enough, the fire goes away too.
Nice. I stand up and assuming she doesn't get back up, I go over to her and like kind of stand over and make sure she doesn't move or anything.
Okay.
And then once I'm satisfied, if she doesn't do that for a few seconds, I turn to the team like, is everyone all right?
More or less.
That actually works perfectly for what happened earlier in the fight. You saying that? It's kind of funny.
Yeah, Justin, you're muted.
No, I can hear him.
I can hear it.
I can't hear him at all. Oh, you know what? I know
Oh.
what it is.
Did you mute him?
I muted him. I muted him ahead of time.
Rude. Rude.
Oh,
I went,
you
what?
stop.
What just happened?
So at this
Oh, that's probably why.
at this point, the angler and Ixion are starting to finally recover. There is a low moan from the injured scientist off to the side.
I've subdued Blood Goblin. She appears to be unconscious. Angler, are you all right? She hit you, Ixion, and myself with a blast of energy.
I don't even remember that happening.
It was quite powerful. It slammed us against the wall.
That's actually a fair comment because the first thing Angler did when he came into the room was try his sleep, which it didn't work, and then he slept. Pretty much, just like boom.
It works.
Lightbringer is the scientist in critical condition.
He appears to have a concussion, but he's in stable condition. I'm a little worried about how we're going to get him out of here, but he's all right for the time being. Shall we see what's in this vault?
We should first attempt to restrain Blood Goblin. I then kind of pick her up and bring her kind of over, still on the floor, but over to Lightbringer.
Okay.
Like, can you assess her injuries?
Sure.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
59
Okay.
on What was it again? Amazing.
So as far as you can tell, it looks like she's knocked out.
Okay.
You're not sure, like, how long that's going to last. You
What's
don't
her
you don't really know much
what's her
about her.
pulse like?
What's that?
What's her pulse like?
Her pulse is strong.
Okay. Well,
She's got some nice facial damage though from being driven into the ground by Hyperion.
yeah. Is it a carpeted or uncarpeted?
Uncarpeted.
Oh, nice. I don't know how long she'll be out, but she seems okay.
Understood. Be aware of her other abilities. They managed to bypass some of mine. My defenses should have been able to stop what she was doing, but
What did
what she
it sounded like she said something, but I didn't catch it. Did
it was, a,
you understand what she said?
it was not a language I've ever experienced. The energy she used does not seem to be normal.
Maybe magical? Is that have you encountered that before?
I have not. I'm finding I've not encountered many things.
Hmm.
Well, with that said, Ixion, you use your ice to bind her hands and feet.
So once he's recovered, yeah, sure thing. It's
Should
gonna
I,
keep her.
should
It's
I
gonna keep her stationary right now, like she's frozen to the floor.
Okay.
But
should I do an emergency medicine check on our alien friend?
you certainly could if you'd like.
Oh, that could be interesting. I'll give that a try.
Yeah.
86 on amazing.
Okay. Given your lack of understanding of his alien physiology, but based upon how he is acting, he seems to be okay. Given the fact that he is a liquid, sort of in a solid form, it's hard for you to say, if he is injured in a traditional sense, but he seems to be okay.
Okay.
I go over so any of the computers, have they all been like trashed, or are any of them still operational?
From that explosion, yeah, most everything in this lab is wrecked to some degree.
Okay. Does it look like there's, and you're saying it like everything seems wrecked, are there any like let's see, I guess they'd be at this point diskettes or floppies or anything stored anywhere that wasn't touched by the flames?
Why don't you all roll an intuition check? See if you search the lab and can find anything.
Intuition.
Oh, jeez.
By the way, for everyone, I do apologize. It was my little brother's birthday, and we went out to his little private range. And I began to leave at 7:00, so I could be home by like 8:10 maybe. And it took us half an hour to get a 4th-generation picture going because people wanted to keep walking away for reasons.
Right.
That's okay.
45 on a remarkable.
Okay.
So I sincerely apologize for anyone watching and to you guys because
You're good.
No problem, man. Yeah, life happens.
Yep.
Intuition, you said?
Intuition.
I got 37 on incredible.
Okay.
Yeah. 18 on excellent.
All right. So you guys search the lab. You do see that there were because at this point more of it was transferable media was put on like CDs at this point, which was sort of a thing. You do find some of those, but because of the heat, they're like warped and damaged and whatnot. You do, however, find a bizarre looking floppy disk. Like it looks like a floppy disk, but it's much thicker and bigger.
Like a what do they call them? A zip disk? No.
Like a zip disk.
Okay. Nice. I remember those very, very briefly.
Yeah.
I used to have several, as well as a portable drive.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a
Yeah.
time.
Okay, so I would like to look in this vault.
How do you
That
plan
she-
on getting it open?
Oh, it's not open?
No,
I
it
thought
is
she
not.
had it open.
Unfortunately, she was not. You interrupted her before she could get it open.
Oh, okay.
How does it look like it's closed?
It is a very solid door, like a bank vault looking door, with a keypad and some sort of swipe mechanism on the side,
like for a key card?
like for a key card. Yes,
Does our unconscious friend have a key card?
he does indeed have a key card.
Let's try that.
Okay.
Before we do this, is this an option we want to take? I understand whatever her reason for breaking into this place may have been, but we should not be searching these premises without some type of due cause.
This is a morally gray area, admittedly. This entire building seems to be a front and a facade. There was a reason she came here. However, we do not know that reason. We do not know what's behind the door. We have technically completed our mission.
I agree, but before we take that step into that next zone, we have to understand what we're about to be doing. Just because this may be the right thing to do now does not mean in 2 weeks we will be seen as heroes. We may be seen as villains for uncovering something that lets worse criminals get away because of due process.
That's a good point.
I say we wait until the police get down here. We can point out that she was desperate to get inside of this container. And we can point out that because of that, we should probably have them open it up and see what's inside. It could be drugs, it could be experimental chemicals, but if we open that up, we are no better than she is.
Can I try and read the mind of the scientist?
You absolutely can, Ms. Telepathy. Go ahead and roll your psyche.
80
Ooh.
on remarkable.
Okay. Given the fact that he is unable to resist because he's unconscious, yeah, you're able to deep dive into this guy's mind. It's a little disorganized right now, obviously because he's dazed and concussed. But yeah, you're in.
I would like to look around and get an idea of what it is they do here.
Okay. So from his understanding that you were picking up, it looks like he is not one of the head scientists. So there are parts of this that are vague, which is a little bit alarming. But from what you can tell, they are running data on deviant DNA.
I'm going to explain this to the group and say, does this change your opinion on our next steps?
To be specific, it looks like the guy you've picked up or that you're probing looks like he does probability. So his is like, what's the probability of a normal person having deviant DNA? Like what that, how that works.
It seems they're doing some research on deviant DNA.
How does this make you feel, being a deviant?
Extremely uneasy and slightly defensive.
Can you provide an argument that is superior to the anglers as to why we should break in rather than allow the authorities to do so? They may not actually open it. However, if we were to open it, we are technically breaking the law.
My feelings on this matter are extremely subjective, particularly in the sense that I feel obviously we are unjustly vilified in this city, and I'm not convinced that that what Blood Goblin is doing is
Morally wrong.
yes.
I understand your feelings. I do.
However,
But
as you say, on the other side, perpetuating the stereotype of angry and violent deviance is not going to win us any points in the um, the political battle.
Have you been able to reach into Blood Goblin's mind?
I hadn't before. I will attempt to do so now.
And as she is focusing on Blood Goblin at this point, the other two of you, can hear sirens outside.
And I got a 55
Okay.
on Remarkable.
Okay. Similar situation, given the fact that she is not resisting per se. She too is unconscious. You don't have quite a grasp of the other individual, which the first thing that would tell you is that she probably has a strong will of some sort.
So
But
I got nothing.
But you're in.
Oh.
It's a good way to describe this is the difference between being at the 8-foot mark in a pool and the 3-foot. You're in the 3-foot pool. You were in the 8-foot mark with the other guy.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that's fine. Surface thoughts is probably enough to get an idea of what she was doing here.
Yeah, it sure is. Because it was actually permeating the reason why she was beating this guy for information. She was trying to get in because she believes that they are experimenting on deviants here.
Can I get an idea of where she got that idea?
Ooh, why don't you give me a power check? Are you trying to be subtle about this or brute force your way?
Subtle.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a power check then.
43
Okay.
on good.
On good. Okay.
No. Yeah, my telepathy is only good.
You're trying to be subtle about it, and you're not getting anywhere.
Okay.
She has for even being unconscious, she does have a pretty strong will, it seems.
Do I have an idea of what she intended to do?
Her belief that they were experimenting here, because it's a surface thought, because she was uncertain what she would see, the first intent was to free anybody that was here, or destroy anything that may have been experimented on.
And we haven't found anybody
Correct.
here. Okay, so I'll relay this information to the team. And say that I can't. She's very mentally prepared, so I can't get much deeper than that.
We have three options. We can follow Angler's plan. We can attempt to open the door with the information and technology we have. Or I could attempt to send at least one of my projections through. They are intangible and can pass through most obstacles. Unless there's something special blocking this door, I may be able to simply enter and see what I can see. That is, of course, a moral gray area as well. Without actually breaking, I'm still entering.
That sounds like
That's
a great
that
option.
is that's a uh, that's a passable alternative.
It sounds like the group is in agreement. I will attempt it. I go ahead and generate a copy and see if I can have it go right on through.
Okay. So I'm not going to make you roll for it. You generate a copy and send it to the door, and you see a very loud, or see and hear a very loud spark.
Okay.
As it like almost falls apart digitally. Just.
Gotcha. I see.
So there apparently is something about this door that is protected specifically against something that can phase through. Which that's on a molecular level. That is very high tech.
Yeah. The technology being used to prevent me is extremely advanced. It seems like they're using some sort of energy lacing or shielding, and it's preventing the energy of my copy from entering.
That gives me the perception that they expected superhumans to attempt to retrieve whatever's inside and took precautions against it.
Either that, or it's meant to keep something in rather than then allow something from outside to enter.
Also true.
You guys can hear footsteps above at this point.
We'll talk about this back at the base.
I agree. Let us simply complete the mission. We know what we know here. I go ahead and break Blood Goblin from the ice that she was on attached to the floor.
Okay.
So that I can carry her, so that we can make her way like up the elevator shaft and whatnot.
Okay.
Heal before we go back. Put the badge back.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna bring the scientist as well.
Okay.
Before you put the badge back, I quickly take that from your hand, look at it for a few seconds, and then hand it back. Thank you. Memorization.
Excellent.
Okay. So you guys eventually come topside. There are obviously hoplite officers and power suits down here are on the bottom floor to take Blood Goblin into custody. Medics come to tend to the scientists that you have rescued and you come up with, and there's obviously some people in suits, quickly approaching. You're trying to get your attention, who look very angry.
Yeah.
And now that you have radio contact again with Meredith, you can hear her instructing you, get out now.
Right. So I contact team to pilot. We are ready for extraction.
I will grab onto both of them and let them like kind of grab onto me, and then I will do the rocket trip up. So the
I can hide.
passing plane.
I can hide us if we need to.
Oh no, they already see us. So
Oh yeah, everybody sees you.
Well, yeah,
Right.
but I can hide us while we're getting to our plane.
So you're going to try and cloak.
Why not?
Oh, I was gonna just go for a dramatic exit. Look awesome while we're doing this.
Well, now we can look awesome and then disappear.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and make your... I'm not going to have him roll for his rocketing. Go ahead and roll for your bending of light.
5.
Okay. So the thing that you realize, even when you try, you're not able to quite get the gauge that you were looking for. It's probably too many people. You're more used to just keeping it to yourself.
All right.
But the other thing you realize is, as you're trying it, you're like, I couldn't have hidden the sound of the rocket. So you would have vanished, but there would have been this out in nowhere. So they still would have heard something. But so you guys rocket up, into the air. The doors come open on the craft, and it and it takes off and takes you guys in a roundabout way back to the vein. So it's not as noticeable.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
And so all of you are now back. Of course, the pilot is just doing a systems check on the craft and your dropship. And
So
Meredith is
Justin-
just there waiting
Sorry.
for you guys as you guys show up.
So what was the name of the company? Or did we not see any company logos? I have personally Justin Player has forgotten.
No, there wasn't anything that was listed because it was the building had taken damage around where that was at, that office building. It was just an office building.
So we got something off of the scientist,
Mhm.
but it wasn't a building, or it wasn't a name or a logo that I recognized.
Correct.
Since I have the time now, I'm going to take a look at have her describe the badge, and then while that's going on, I'm actually going to go to the computer and I'm going to put in the address into Electrum's computer.
Okay. I mean, you type in the address, it pulls up where the building is.
It doesn't pull up any information about the building?
No.
All right. I don't know if I have the computer information for this, but does it look like Justin would be able to notice red flags? But I'm going to ask the question anyways. Can I notice if there's anything that's preventing information from loading? Like the difference between a user and a super user?
Oh, yeah. You mean on the computer itself? Yeah, nothing like that.
Okay.
Also, keep in mind that the idea of searching online for for city maps.
Oh, no, I was
addresses,
searching his records.
No, I know. I'm just letting you know, in general, that really wasn't a thing at this point in the 90s.
Yeah.
But databases were.
Yeah.
And he has a comprehensive database.
Mm-hmm, he does. But that doesn't mean he went through like every building and said, this is Starbucks. This, this is Whataburger.
No, I was thinking that it was something, since he's been doing all this genetic experimentation, he might have that address in there as a blackbarred address, or he might have information on the name of the company that's there because he was doing an investigation of them or something like that.
Right. Yeah, nothing shows there.
Okay. And Freddy does not have the computer knowledge to see about more sensitive information.
Team, we've all done a fantastic job. I commend all of you.
It was a bumpy ride going down that elevator shaft, I'll tell you what.
We have learned several things. including how to react better. We can all do differently, perhaps in the future. I believe that especially being able to travel using anglers' flight capabilities is very effective. And I wonder about creating perhaps some sort of harness that would help us actually travel. It would make it easier for you in flight.
Possibly, it'd have to be a pretty strong anchor for all of us to do it all together. I wouldn't have the knowledge to be able to create something like that.
Well, we could probably come up with something. I've also got plans once we have a decent workshop. I'd like to see if I can rig some sort of device to transform my UV into some sort of propellant. So,
Interesting.
in future.
With that said, as far as equipment, I am transitioning the headquarters of my company to Strongford, which means that I will be able to eventually, probably sooner rather than later, maneuver some materials, equipment, and so forth to the space. I'll be in contact with Ms. McCall in an attempt to do this clandestinely. Once that happens, we should have an effective laboratory and workshop here in the vein.
That would be excellent. I've also reached out to a colleague at my previous place of employment about different vendors that provide the equipment that we used there. So I can pass that along to you if it's going to be useful.
Certainly. In the meantime, I then communicate, Ms. McCall, we have returned to base.
I'll be down shortly.
At this point, I deactivate my reflection, so all the reflective panels kind of fold back into my
Sure.
Can you
body.
show me what that badge looked like? I didn't get a good look at it while we were there.
Can I go up to the computer and like kind of download the image from my memory of it
Absolutely.
into the computer?
Sure.
I go ahead and do that.
Sweet.
Do I recognize this logo?
It takes about 30 minutes to download the picture to a JPEG
Oh yeah,
format.
we're dealing with 1990s. Oh, this is a megabyte. We're gonna be here for a few hours, guys.
I will attempt to draw it on a sheet of paper. In the
Okay.
meantime.
Sure. The name that was on the badge, the like instead of the company name, it said Genesis.
Like spelled the normal way.
Yes. Not like Terminator, I have to throw a Y in there for no particular reason.
But Y makes it edgy.
And it makes it about women because the Y chromosome.
Oh, I'm gonna be burnt tomorrow. Oh, I'm gonna be burnt tomorrow.
You're feeling it already?
No, I'm taking a look at my neck versus my face.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Put some aloe on that tonight.
Yeah.
I put some moisturizer on it already.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you saw me rubbing into my face a little bit ago.
All right. Have fun with that.
Okay.
I take off the mask and the shirt so I can flex my ribs out a little bit and breathe a little bit better.
Sure.
I actually do a wiggly thing with my gills.
Treat them like the spirit fingers.
No, more just like being in a cramped suit does not fit well with something that's supposed to move.
Sure.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Can we turn on the news and see if there's been any coverage
Absolutely.
on this?
Yeah. So I mean, you pull it up, and there is coverage. Oddly enough, um, they don't know the name of your group. You guys are being identified as like this mystery team, of some sort that seems to have made Strongford their home. And they managed to stop. They specifically label Blood Goblin a terrorist, the deviant terrorist, from apparently destroying millions of dollars worth of office space in downtown Strongford.
Well, at least there's that.
And they have a hoplite officer on the screen who's given a breakdown, normally like what cops do. They kind of give a if they're addressing the public for any reason. They're saying they managed to take they took her in. There were some civilian there were some civilians who received injuries in the building and around it. They're all being treated by the and they've been transported off to the local hospital for tendencies, and they said their bomb technicians just recently got out of the basement of the building and apparently deactivated a car bomb that she had placed on site.
Car bomb. Did anyone see a car bomb?
No, I did
didn't.
not.
It fits a narrative, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. That could just be their explanation.
There was a lot of damage in there, and if you explain it away with bombs, everyone's going to listen.
Well,
Because it makes
I-
a less ethereal threat. It makes it a much more feeling one for most people.
I don't think anyone needs euphemizing deviant damage. I think they would be more than happy to explain it by uh, deviant causes. So I'm a little surprised if that's the narrative is a car bomb.
We will need to explain this to Miss McCall when she arrives.
Yeah, and so she comes walking down from somewhere downstairs, down like a set of stairs to the main meeting room that you guys are at. And she says, "Oh, good. I see that you've got the news on, and you can see that they have blamed this on a terrorist bombing attempt."
Oh, they called it an act. Wait, are they're talking about her as they are identifying her as a deviant, right?
Correct.
Okay, well, okay.
And it's to the unfortunate manipulative narrative that deviants tend towards terrorism, which is dangerous.
And she says that they've already reached out to somebody who apparently some media personnel who happens to know the tyrants who have denied any knowledge of this, happening. She says it's very 80s IRA at this point.
When we did actually enter that facility and apprehend Blood Goblin, she did manage to uncover a strange facility underneath the building with an extremely advanced vault door that not even one of my photonic copies could pass through. All of the technology around it was damaged, and we were not able to pull out anything except for this disc Lightbringer has.
So she holds out her hand, says, "Do you still have it?"
I'll hand over the disc.
Okay.
And I'll say, I was able to glean from her mind that she believed this facility was experimenting on deviant DNA, and she had intended to rescue anyone here and or destroy whatever she found as far as experiments.
Here in Strongford. That's kind of bold. Well, let's see what you came up with.
The scientists that we rescued, who she had incapacitated, seemed to be a subordinate, and his mind didn't yield anything super detailed, just something about assessing probabilities, possibly in likelihood of deviant manifestation in DNA.
Well, that makes sense. I know the government and many private agencies have been doing that as a means to try to predict how deviance came about or what triggered it. So the first thing you're going to want to do in that particular sense is identify the anomaly, say they treat it, and then see how frequently it's popping up, and then try to find potential triggers. So I would imagine that's the next step in that particular research. So she takes the disc and pulls out it pops it into the computer, which has a internal zip drive in it.
Only the latest technology
Yes.
for this facility. Though it's been abandoned for how long?
What's that?
Vein. Yeah, that's a good point.
The vein actually the vein actually was never abandoned. You guys never got that clarified.
Oh.
Mm,
Only that it hadn't been in use.
yeah.
Okay.
Think about that for a second. You're saying it's abandoned, yet you already had a pilot, you already had a craft, and it was already ready.
Yeah.
I assumed it was Meredith handling that.
Right. Which means it wasn't abandoned.
Well, so I suppose she probably kept it. It was her headquarters.
Of some sort.
Immaterial.
Yes. So the sound of the drive is loading. These things were known to be a little loud.
Yep.
Because they were
Yeah.
big floppy drives in essence that carried up to 100 megs of data.
Ooh.
Wow.
That was pretty impressive for those
Yeah.
things at that point.
Yeah.
They were just slow as fuck. Well, to be fair, the external drive was obviously a little slower because it is what it is. But anyways, so you hear the as it's pulling things up, and it pulls up a Windows window with several folders on it. None of them marked in a logical way. They're all like a series of numbers or letters.
I come over to the computer and see if I can make heads or tails of like the patterns, what's within the file folders, and all of that.
Okay.
I'll just watch.
Go ahead and give me a reason check.
But I have my computer's talent.
All right.
I got a 76 on the roll. My reason is normally amazing.
Okay, so that's going to put you at monstrous. So looking at it, you can tell that this is not going to be. You're not going to be able to extract really any information from it because it needs to be plugged into a mainframe that can read it. So the way it's coded, it's specifically encrypted to work only on that type of mainframe. Not out of the realm of impossibility for you if you could figure out at least who designed the mainframe. You could possibly recreate. You could quite, because I mean, those things are all, for the most part, they're going to be mostly custom jobs, or very, very limited clientele just for the security purposes of it.
So in layman's terms, or in 2021 terms, is basically it's encrypted?
Yeah.
Or encoded?
Mhm.
Okay.
It has
It
a
is-
trusted safety platform installed on it, so you can only activate it on certain computers that it recognizes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go all nerdy, but that's what I do. That's what I want to get into doing every day is the information security.
Yeah, and I relay that to everybody as far as what I'm finding here.
So Meredith looks at that and she says, "Well, then it's important. You wouldn't make a copy of something like this and have it that level of encryption, for your recipes."
This is, however, troubling if any of it is true. If any of these deviant experiments are happening within Strongford. You yourself, Ms. McCall, seemed surprised. Have you heard of anything like this happening before?
Nothing in Strongford, no. I mean, there's always rumors that go around. It's you don't want to you don't want to give into the conspiracy theories, but there have always been rumors dating back to World War II, at least, of experimentations of this type. The super soldier.
Can I do intuition on her right now?
Sure. What are you looking for?
I'm trying to see if she's being forthright.
Sure, go ahead.
Like if she knows a lot more than she's actually saying. 81 on a remarkable.
Okay.
And basically what I'm looking for is some people have tells whenever they're telling half-truths.
Mhm.
That's what I'm looking for. Like,
Sure.
she knows a lot more than she's really letting on.
No, she seems genuinely surprised.
Okay.
I mean, that doesn't mean that she doesn't know more about other things, but in this
Yeah.
particular issue, she does seem surprised.
Ms. McCall, would you have any ability to determine who it was who actually owned and was operating this building beyond this name we retrieved, the Genesis?
I would imagine if they had some sort of setup, they had a dummy company that owned this particular building. Finding that dummy company is probably not going to be a problem. Finding who owned the dummy company, that's going to be the issue.
It was clearly a front for this secret lab because the equipment found throughout the building was very sparse. It clearly was not populated for a regular business.
Well, that could be one of two reasons. Notwithstanding, of course, the secret facility that you stumbled onto, somebody could have been gambling on the uptick in business. Strongford has been getting a lot of businesses moving into the city, and it would be a prime target to have an office building at least mostly suited for somebody wanting to bring their big tech or banking or customer service or something into that area, and having something already mostly equipped would be ideal.
It has the feel of a Black Ops site.
But right, I think that's probably more the case here, especially given the fact that Blood Goblin attacked, which means she knows more. At least
She might have just been a crazy.
What do we know about her and her history?
She points to the computer.
Yeah, I pull up her dossier, anything that's on the computer.
So yeah, there is one. It looks like Electrum has run across her a couple of times. She is a known deviant. She is perceived, quote unquote, a villain. in that sense. Here we go. She doesn't. The nature of her abilities is believed to be plasma and fire generation. She's actively very pro deviant, but she has the most of this stuff. Obviously, there's also articles and whatnot attached to it, or like images thereof. But there are notes directly from Electrum that state that she has rebuffed working with the tyrants. And there is a question mark there about how she doesn't seem to condone their actions.
Okay.
He also
okay.
there is a note there that also says that she has become very violent against racist organizations.
When was the last update on the file?
Last update was probably 90.
I keep forgetting. What year is it?
94.
94? Okay.
I go ahead and... Okay.
Does that fit about the same time when Electrum stopped being a presence? Okay.
Roughly. Mm-hmm.
I feel some sympathy with her, and it's unfortunate that she falls outside the law in these activities, but I can't fault her for her
intent.
her positions. Yes.
And I agree. If they're doing human experimentation to create deviants, if they're doing genetic experiments to find out who has potential to become a deviance, I am very much against it. However, I don't think breaking into that vault would have been the appropriate answer.
If at some point she is released and we encounter her again, I would like to try speaking with her. Maybe she could be persuaded to work with us.
I agree.
It does make sense. We'll have to play that by ear.
Yeah.
We at least know something is happening within our own city. We need to be aware of it now. It is a possible threat. I go ahead and update Blood Goblin's dossier that she may also wield fire-based magical powers.
Okay.
I save that.
Resistant to sleeping effects.
I go ahead and add that too.
Okay.
And I also add highly resistant, if not immune to fire-based attacks. Based off of Angler's blasts that seem to do virtually nothing to her.
Okay. I never... Did I try to blast her?
Yes.
When my character was on... Okay.
Yeah.
While you were NPC'd?
Yeah.
Okay.
I then put that file aside and look up the tyrants and see if the Electrum has anything specifically on them.
Oh, he does.
So real quick, am I adding an extra slash to my my plasma?
No.
Or was it just the heat?
Yeah, you just fired your plasma attack. Or your
just
heat
attack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, I had to double check that because heat and plasma is very... Yeah, you know. Yeah. I'm not over explaining tonight.
Yeah, you're good. So the tyrants, there's actually a fairly big file about that. Most of their antics involved direct terrorism around the world, not just the United States. Comments about how they have an us versus them mentality. They're always actively recruiting other deviants to their cause. The main group, the first one is called Shrike. She's the leader of the group and maintains that basically like the strongest will survive, but is very um, uh, the it holds a clearly holds a belief of genetic unity, that there should be, you know, some sort of genetic unity within the deviants.
That explains why Blood Goblin didn't like him.
Right.
This is just more racist shit.
One second. Back up from there. And over here, I have pictures to provide you.
Boy. Picture time.
Obviously, it won't pop up on the game, but I'm going to throw them out in the chat here for you guys. So just give me a second.
Thank you for not making him use plasma. Because that might have done a lot more than just damage her.
Power up.
Right.
There's that. There's that. And one of them you've actually already run into before, Lightbringer.
Which chat did you put it in? Oh, there we go.
Yep. So you have Shrike, who is the first picture there. You have Sovereign, who is the woman with the black and purple hair, kind of powering up in that picture. It's not clear what exactly she does, but it's believed that she may be psionic in nature. Switch Hit is a enhanced strength, endurance, and regeneration type of guy. Turf is a he's able to manipulate the earth and obviously rock himself up. Super strong, resilient with earth control powers.
What was the second one?
The-
The lady.
You had Shrike, who is the leader.
Yeah, I got her.
Okay, you had Sovereign.
Sovereign.
Then you had Switch Hit and Turf.
And who's the last one with the hammer?
Sledgehammer.
He's not a part of that group. That was just, I was throwing up pictures in the chat.
Oh, okay.
So you guys had visuals.
I don't think that second picture would pass the muster on Twitch anyways. I'll explain once we're done for the night. Or at least I'll point it out to you if you haven't already seen it.
All right. So that's the tyrants. Okay.
But yeah, they are known for going around the world and basically raising hell in the name of genetic unity for the deviants, and processing, or and fighting against perceived tyranny against them, using any means necessary.
Gotcha. Interesting. Well, at this point, we need to make sure that we are ready for any future encounters. As I mentioned before, I will be bringing my company to Strongford so that we can enhance our abilities here in the vein. I will be working on any advancements any of you believe that you need, technologically or otherwise, especially for creating any type of harness for Angler. And if we are able to generate some sort of propulsion capability for you, Lightbringer, as you mentioned, we can work on that as we go. Ms. McCall, do you have any suggestions?
None as of yet, outside of the fact that you may want to find a way to equip yourselves with inhibitor bands.
Yes, if we can get a pair of those, I'm sure we could reverse engineer more.
I agree.
I could
It
see,
appears
I could see, or look into trying to obtain one for you to try and reverse engineer.
I would be very grateful.
excellent.
Beyond that, did you have any
That-
other questions for me since I'm here?
Do you know if there's any companies working on stronger versions of the inhibitor bands?
I do not know specifically. It's not really a field of expertise. There is a company in town, however, that you might want to look into. They are mostly like medical technicians, but Alpine Technologies is the company you may want to check with.
I only ask because we may be approaching this from the wrong angle. Right now, we're looking at the possibility of someone trying to predict and possibly create more deviants. We could be looking at the wrong side of the coin. Someone looking for an antivirus or an antivenom for us.
Something that targets deviants specifically.
Yes.
I agree. It is difficult to surmise exactly what their ultimate aims are, but we do know they're at least using probabilistic means to identify deviants, perhaps being experimented on.
I agree.
I wish we could have seen what was inside that vault.
Understandable. At the same time, we did not have the time. We also did not have the authority.
It
Perhaps there will
would,
be a time when the authority will not matter. That is not yet.
and it would have been wrong to accidentally or intentionally pin extra crimes on Blood Goblin that she didn't do.
No, of course,
Fair point.
especially if we intend to recruit her or court her later.
Speaking of which, do we want to actively attempt to obtain further members? There is an obvious thread between membership, as we are all effectively siblings. Were we looking for members additionally beyond that thread?
I think for the moment, we should be cautious if we're going to recruit new people. Blood Goblin, we could probably talk about that as a walk the dog type of situation whenever it comes to criminals, where she's essentially an informant.
Contact of
And
sorts. This makes sense.
I didn't mean recruit in the sense of joining our team. I simply meant
An alliance?
yes, turning her away from her criminal intent and working with us within the system, perhaps.
We can explore that if she's able to clear her legal debacle, which admittedly is a low probability of success.
Yes, clearly that is a future concern. But the
Ma'am?
way I see it, the more deviants that we can convince to take a lawful path, as opposed to joining teams like the Tyrants or the other local games, the better, because that will help the reputation of all of us.
I believe that both you, Lightbringer, and you, Angler, would be instrumental in that. If we make ourselves more popular with more successful missions, and both of you reveal yourselves to be deviants, you can effectively be role models to the current generation of deviants.
Under my other name, I am kind of known as a deviant, a medical experiment. Military produced medical experiment, but medical experiment nonetheless. So I've lived in a gray area for most of my life whenever it comes to that.
Do you
As
believe,
the angler, all they know is that I'm a deviant.
but what the public will see will be heroes doing heroic things, defeating villains, and saving innocents?
Which is one of the reasons I did not want us to go into that vault.
A fair assessment. I believe we should take that mode of reasoning going into the future, unless circumstances change in some emergency state.
Understood.
In the
Agreed.
meantime, Ms. McCall, we appreciate your assistance.
Of course. Keep in mind that if that is the route that you're wishing to go, not that I'm against it, you're definitely going to need to double down your efforts to bring in Blackout and stop what he is doing, because any goodwill that you might build is going to be thwarted by everything that he does.
Something we should also do, Miss McCall, if we have the available financing for it, is assist Blood Goblin, at least if we can, through a third party, possibly post bail, if that is an option for her.
Well, as she's being held as a terrorist, there's no bail option for her. But you're suggesting use available resources to hire her a lawyer?
Yes.
Hmm.
If she is in a position where she knows something, we can see an immediate reaction from a third party group immediately attacking the lawyer and the injunction, to not have her treated as a terrorist, but maybe a concerned girlfriend or someone who was told that a family member was trapped down there. Whatever her
Effectively,
reasoning may be, it may provide us with, like Lightbringer was saying, an ally of convenience. And if we're able to show that maybe some people were fast to call her terrorist, it might show a lighter side of deviance overall, rather than immediately going, well, he has superpowers, so he must be a bad guy.
What you were proposing is going to take up quite a bit of resource for a lawyer to want to take that on. And you're also dealing with the car bomb. It's going to require this group, to somehow debunk that and disprove that particular narrative.
It was merely an idea. Trying to think around the problem rather than try to think
I'm
through
giving
it.
you the devil's advocate and what it is you're going to need to succeed. Otherwise, you're going to be having us channel money into a hole where it probably won't be returned. You won't get you won't see the benefits.
I understand.
It may not be the end of her legal journey. If we can eventually find what this Genesis is up to, if they're committing crimes against humanity, then that could reverse anything that's been done on others who've been trying to upend this illegal company.
I was thinking that if someone is intentionally trying to set her up for a situation like this, if she suddenly has representation, we're going to see a strong counter from somebody somewhere that will immediately turn around and go, well, why are they protecting a why are they defending a terrorist?
So that we
Forcing
know
their hand.
where the resistance is.
And that might help us find out who Genesis is and find out what their better intents are. But if
if that's what you want to do and you have the resources to do so, I can make it. I can make a call.
So, Jerome, if I liquidate my income as it is, would I be able to produce about 10,000 for a decent lawyer?
What is your resources at?
Resources is a 10.
You would not have enough to do something like that.
How much could I pull?
Well, let's give it a roll. See what you have available to you. Percentile for GD10.
52.
52. So you could probably safely at a 52. If you lived off of ramen, you could probably kick in 2,000, and that would like completely deplete you for probably 2 months. You would have to skimp.
Or I could live here at the Vein.
Well, that's you living at the Vein. That's already included in that.
Let's see. Can I try to see what I could do with my resources?
Of course.
Okay. On an excellent 20.
And this is still 90, so even $2,000 would go a long way for even a decent lawyer.
Holy crap. Okay, literally 100.
Okay. So despite the fact that you have a lot of money tied up in moving the business from point A to point B and the hiring and buying equipment, no, you found a slush fund that you could liquidate and easily put down money, a good 20,000 to hire on and retain a good lawyer, potentially to take her on and tackle this issue.
Okay. So I'm thinking about that in my memory banks and remember that amount of assets and then say, Ms. McCall, I believe I could put approximately $20,000 towards her legal defense if you believe you'd be able to acquire that for her.
If that's what you all would like, I will make a call.
And look at it to the team. What do you think?
I wonder if we could. I mean, legal trouble notwithstanding, I wonder if we could get similar results by simply planting seeds or rumors about the true intent of that attack, and see what sort of publicity comes up to counter it.
At that point, Meredith shrugs. She says, I mean, I've worked in the media for quite a while. I can tell you right now, that's going to get squashed before it even goes anywhere. No one here has the pull or the face or the charisma or the wherewithal with the public that anybody would even listen to something like that.
Fair enough.
And I don't think 20,000 would be. I think 20,000 would be quite a lot. Um,
You don't
since
think
we're,
it would take that much?
I don't think it would take that much. I think we could probably put some of that in a reserve in
You're
case
you're
additional
talking
legal funds come up.
you're talking about trying to defend somebody who's already been labeled as a terrorist and who has killed before.
You will most likely need the most powerful legal team available, if at all possible, with whatever money we have.
All right. I just don't want you to overextend yourself. You said you're moving your company to Strongford, so um, definitely don't want you to end up out of pocket.
I appreciate the concern. Believe me, I have taken this into account. Then
So,
we will continue with that plan, Miss McCall.
Very well. I'll make a call and I will let you know what I come up with.
Excellent.
And we're keeping this anonymous, right?
Of course. I'm not going to have a PR fiasco of this group trying to legally defend this individual. That's not going to help anybody in any regard.
I agree. It's if we do it through a third party, it can be private donation, or the lawyer can take the case pro bono in order to make it seem as if it was their idea to do it. And I think that would work out for the best for her to at least smoke out what's going on. Even if she is unable to get off the charges, we might be able to pull out who arranged this all. Because she may have received information from the tyrants saying, again, not knowing her exact reasoning, she may have thought that her family was down there, or that they kidnapped her child, or something like that. There may be more to this we don't know yet.
To that end, I think it might be useful to discover what pro deviant attorneys we could find, and perhaps help to support that fight on the justice level as well.
You're talking about some pretty big topics that none of which you really have the finances to do, but
No, obviously, but
perhaps that might be something you want to expand on in the near future, some sort of nonprofit legal defense fund.
Deviant outreach. We
I
can
think
work on
that
such a thing.
something to keep on the back burner as we continue to expand on this fight.
absolutely.
I do believe Ms. McCall is correct in that we do need to now focus on Blackout and his underhanded ways elsewhere in order to have any of what we're doing mean something and stick within the community.
So
Um,
she takes that at that point and goes off to go make the phone call.
So we were going to stake out that laundromat, weren't we?
I believe that was going to be our next course of action before the interruption.
We also have that charity event coming up as well. So perhaps, well, just keep that in mind. I think we've got a bit of time still.
The charity event.
The
What was
one
this?
The one that Sledgehammer told us about in Fairview. The one that would, Fairside, sorry.
That's right.
Fairside. the one that would give a lot of hope to the people of that neighborhood, that they have somebody fighting to keep their turf a little safer.
True. It seems as if it is a sinking ship with holes throughout. To plug the holes, we must remove what is causing it, mainly Blackout and any of his conspirators. Once that happens, Fairsight can finally heal with the efforts of the outreach that exists and with Sledgehammer, with that being his primary territory. I think our main focus should be to actually be heroes and defeat the villains who are there.
Did we have a list of his lieutenants?
You only have the one known associate at this point, who is Coil.
I'll pull up Coil and take a look at it, see if there's anything I can notice. Is he currently on the street or is he locked up?
Last known, he was locked up. Like Bringer would like to chime in, she can.
Well, I don't know how. Wait, was it Coil that I injured?
Yes.
Okay, I mixed up him and Turf. Yeah, he. I actually did him some damage when we tangled with Sledgehammer. So as far as I'm aware, he needed to heal in custody. So.
And there hasn't been any reports of him getting broken out.
Not that you're aware of, no.
However, Turf was also apprehended at the same time, and he's already back out, last I heard. So who knows how long they would be detained anyway.
Is this the same Turf who was a part of the Tyrants?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Was he working with that primary Tyrant group, or was he working alone?
I seem to recall I was not aware of any of these politics at the time, but due to Sledgehammer's surprise at seeing them together, it seemed that one team was sort of recruiting with the other. So there may be some crossover there.
And we need to work quickly to prevent that crossover from being successful.
Yes.
All
Well,
right. Go ahead.
If we are going to continue with locating Blackout and then stopping his organization, whatever he has, apparently within the condo complex Fairside, we need to develop a plan. We need to obtain information that what we can, which it seems that we have obtained most of it already from our encounter with Sledgehammer. We also need reconnaissance of Fairside itself, the condo complex, the laundromat, and so forth. Jerome, what time of day is it right now?
Late afternoon.
Okay.
So probably 4.
Okay. We could continue with this as soon as now, or we could wait until nightfall.
How do you propose that we handle this stakeout?
I would say we do it in civvies.
to accomplish this undercover first. Interesting.
Right
Your thought-
now, no one truly knows who we are outside the costume. So people being new to a transient town, that's not going to be such a surprise. As long as we have a place to stay that's safely near it, we shouldn't have any issues about that. We just have to watch out for other other supers who might have powers of detection, which is going to be our primary concern.
So we watch the building. Do we station someone inside the laundromat? Do we put surveillance there and watch it from elsewhere?
I say we do this like the movies. We rent a room somewhere near it, and we set up a camera, and we... What's that?
Take turns watching?
Take turns watching. We can use Hyperion's images to duplicates to walk the streets, walking by there, taking a look at it in every now and then. And you can use different faces and different forms of identification for them, right?
It is possible they would remain intangible. We also have the opportunity for
I'm not
Lightbringer.
worried about them being tangible, but if they walk by and look in, you can see through their eyes, right?
That is correct.
So we have a different person walk by, and who knows? You might see something on the inside that wasn't noticed before.
We can accomplish that. We also have the option of Lightbringer simply rendering herself invisible or taking on the appearance of somebody else and accomplishing a similar task.
True.
I think that is an undue risk at this point. I would be afraid, no offense, that they would detect you and then you're going to be by yourself. Even for a minute or two, that's a long time in combat with an actual villain.
Fair enough. Jerome, how far is the laundromat from Lightbringer's apartment?
2 blocks over.
Okay, so not close enough for them to use her place.
Not to watch the place, no.
Okay.
Hyperion, can you do non-humanoids? Like, let's say a cockroach?
The image has to be similar in shape and form to myself. The variations need to be minute. It will take a humanoid visage. It takes effort to actually change the facial appearance.
I understand. I was going to say if you could do a cockroach, you could scurry around that place and no one would ever see it there. I'm assuming Strongport has roaches.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Or Strongford, sorry.
Yeah, Strongford definitely has roaches.
Yeah. My ideas is basically we stake it out like the police or the FBI would do. Keep a distance, but keep an eye on it. See who's coming in, who's going out. Have your duplicates walk by every hour or so. Take a peek in as they're walking by. They could even go in and pretend to have an issue. Is it a chain, Jerome?
What's that?
The laundromat? Is it a chain laundromat?
No.
No,
where it's located is in Fairview. Or is it Fairview?
But it wouldn't be like a chain where you have a 5-star 5-star laundry, 5-star. Oh, it's a laundromat, right?
Right.
Oh, I was thinking dry cleaning.
Or Fairside. Sorry, I keep getting that.
Fairside.
Freaking
Yeah, I apologize.
Fairside.
So
Yeah,
it's not like
Fairside.
dry cleaners.
Yeah,
It's
no,
an actual
Fairside.
laundromat.
Yeah, Fairside is the slums. So there's nothing fancy, nothing high class about it. It's just got some machines that people do laundry in. And it's kind of
Lightbringer.
creepy.
You know the area best. Do you know if there would be a location near the laundromat where we can perform this stakeout?
I would expect that we could probably find an empty apartment nearby with a view. I think that probably wouldn't be too bad if we have ready money.
I can liquidate bound down to about 1,000 and live decently enough.
Do we
This
want
operation,
Stretching it, I can go down to 2,000, but I'm gonna be eating Spartan.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm unable to contribute monetarily to this operation.
Jerome, would I be able to have anything beyond the 20,000 I've already dropped for the Blood Goblin legal fund?
You could certainly give it a try.
Right.
Can we look for listings, or do we like in 1995 when or for? How did people apartment hunt?
Usually by
The
the
classifieds.
yeah, usually by newspaper or just by walking by.
Okay.
So rolled a 32.
Okay, so that would be no. Although it's not super expensive, especially in this area. Yeah, you don't have the spare change to throw around for something like that. Not with everything else.
Right.
I will check the classifieds real quick. Is there cheap apartments near there?
In that area?
Yeah,
Let's see. I mean, it is slums.
I was gonna
like within a block where we can see the location.
Should
Yeah.
we take a walk and scope out the area?
Yeah, I mean there are, but you need to also need to keep in mind, Brittany, your character is in illegal subletting.
Oh, that's true.
So while you're paying rent, there's nothing technically legal about it, which is why it comes at such a great discount.
So based on
And there's definitely that down there.
based on how I found my place, why don't we do the same thing and see if somebody will rent us a space for, I don't know, a month or two.
You are a little bit more adept at this area. Can we leave it to you?
Sure.
You are hobo enough that you know the area. We will leave this to you. We're used to having money.
A skill I never expected to be glad to have.
Well, that's the reason he used the justification of you know the area.
Exactly.
He ain't saying she's poor. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more, say no more. And there's not a lot of people who get the Monty Python joke, but I'm happy with it.
No, I was trying to think of the winks as good as a something to a blind bat. I can't remember what it is. Anyway. All right, well, then I guess I'm gonna see what I can find out. Do I need to hoof that?
No, actually, that's where we're going to stop for tonight. For the game, and we will pick up with you investigating some more illegal apartments or illegal housing and whatnot. So,
legal is a matter of timing for something like this.
Yes.
This is dubious at best.
So that would make the next game September 18th. Are we good?
I'm good.
I think so, yeah.
And we'll check with Derek and see if he would be good for that as well. Alrighty. So thank you guys for playing. I hope you guys had fun. Thank you guys for watching. Davy Jones, as always, thanks for tuning in, man. So we will be playing this game again on the 18th of September, and Vampire will be the 17th. Bum, bum, bum. So we're gonna head out, and I hope you guys have a good.
LARPing.
And yes, in the Vampire game, they are going to go LARP. Vampires pretending to be vampires, pretending to be vampires. So, and I need you guys to hang out. We're going to do the karma and whatnot, for monthly karma. So, all right. So have a good one, you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll have this uploaded soon. Good night, guys.
Bye-bye.